It was a quiet evening in Atlanta. Angela Carter, a strong and respected nurse, had just finished her night shift at the hospital. Exhausted but content, she stopped by a small grocery store to pick up some essentials before heading home. She had no idea that her life was about to take a dark, unforgettable turn. Outside the store, a group of men stood leaning against a truck, loud, drunk, and dangerous. Locals knew them as the Iron Vultures, a small racist gang that often harassed minorities in the neighborhood. When Angela walked out of the store, they locked their eyes on her. "Hey, look what we got here," one of them sneered. Angela ignored them, calmly heading to her car. But the insults grew louder, uglier. One of them, Rick, grabbed her arm. "Don't touch me," Angela said firmly, looking him dead in the eye. Her voice didn't shake. It had that kind of power that made even cruel men hesitate. But before she could get in her car, they surrounded her. Things escalated fast. They shoved her, called her names, and tried to intimidate her. What they didn't know was that Angela's son, Marcus, had just parked his car across the street. He wasn't an ordinary man. He was a federal agent with the FBI's Organized Crime Division. And this time, his mission wasn't a case, it was personal. Marcus saw his mother surrounded, fear boiling into fury. Within seconds, he was out of his car and moving fast, calm, precise, and lethal in his focus. "Step away from the lady," he commanded, flashing his badge. The gang laughed. "What are you gonna do, hero?" one mocked. Marcus didn't answer. The next moment was a blur, a takedown so fast, they didn't even see it coming. In under 30 seconds, 3 men were disarmed, one was on the ground, and the others were running for their lives. Angela watched in shock and pride. Her son didn't just stop them, he arrested them. Backup arrived minutes later, sirens wailing through the night. The gang members were handcuffed and taken away. Rick spat out, "You think this is over?" Marcus leaned in close, his eyes cold. "It's over when I say it's over. And next time, you won't just face me, you'll face federal justice." Angela placed a hand on her son's shoulder. "Thank you, baby," she whispered. Marcus smiled faintly. "Nobody messes with my mom." That night, the city learned a powerful lesson: never underestimate a black woman, or her son who serves the law. A week after the attack, things in Atlanta seemed to return to normal, but only on the surface. Angela went back to work, and Marcus, though calm on the outside, couldn't shake the feeling that something wasn't right. He put 3 of the Iron Vultures behind bars, but their leader, Cole Jackson, was still out there, a man known for his deep hatred and violent temper. Cole had been watching, waiting for the right time to strike back. Late one night, Angela sat in her living room, sipping tea, the TV murmuring quietly. Then came the sound, a slow knock at the door. 3 knocks. Silence, then 3 more. Angela froze. Marcus had taught her that knock pattern, it was their signal in case of emergency. She rushed to the door, relieved, only to find no one there. Her relief turned into dread. From the corner of her eye, she saw movement in the backyard. 3 figures in black hoodies creeping toward the house. Angela moved quickly, locking the doors, grabbing her phone. She dialed Marcus, her hands shaking. "Marcus, they're here." Within minutes, Marcus was racing through the dark streets, his siren off, lights low. His mother's GPS signal glowed on the screen of his car. Inside the house, Angela heard glass shatter. They were in. She grabbed the small handgun Marcus had taught her to use, hiding behind the kitchen counter. The door burst open. Cole stepped inside, smirking. "Where's your tough FBI boy now?" he snarled. Angela aimed the gun straight at him. "Right behind you," came a calm voice. Cole spun around. Marcus was there, gun drawn. In seconds, chaos erupted. Shots fired. Windows shattered. Marcus moved like a storm, one takedown, another disarmed. Cole pinned to the ground. "Cole Jackson," Marcus barked, "you're under arrest for attempted murder, home invasion, and hate crimes." But Cole only laughed. "You think locking me up ends this? You've just declared war, Agent Carter." Marcus pressed the barrel of his gun to the floor beside Cole's head, his jaw tight. "No," he said coldly. "I just ended it." Police backup arrived moments later, and Cole was dragged away, shouting threats that echoed through the night. Angela stood beside her son, shaken but strong. "You always show up right when I need you," she whispered. Marcus smiled faintly. "That's what I do, Mom. But this time, it's not over yet." As they drove away, a shadowy figure watched from across the street, a man on the phone, whispering, "Cole's down. Time to bring in the real boss." The war had only just begun. It had been 3 days since Cole Jackson's arrest. Angela finally felt a bit of peace returning. Her house repaired, locks replaced, and Marcus visiting often. But Marcus knew better than to relax. Cole's last words, "You've just declared war," echoed in his mind like a warning bell. He'd been digging into Cole's phone records and financials. What he found made his blood run cold. The Iron Vultures weren't just a gang. They were part of a larger network connected to a corrupt businessman named Victor Haynes, a man who funded hate groups across several states under the disguise of community organizations. Victor was powerful, rich, respected, untouchable. And now Marcus realized, He was also the one behind the attack on his mother. Marcus stormed into his boss's office. "Sir, I have evidence linking Victor Haynes to the Iron Vultures, weapons funding, encrypted payments, surveillance links. But I need clearance to bring him in." His boss frowned. "Agent Carter, Haynes is politically connected. You can't just go after him without hard proof. Get me something solid, not just traces." Marcus clenched his jaw. "Then I'll get it." Angela couldn't sleep. The storm outside pounded against the windows, thunder echoing like cannon fire. Then her phone buzzed, a message from an unknown number. "Tell your son to stop digging. Or you'll pay for it first." Her heart dropped. She called Marcus instantly, but before he could arrive, a black SUV pulled up outside her house. Two masked men broke in. Angela ran upstairs, barricading the door, whispering into the phone, "Marcus. They're here again. Stay low, Mom. I'm on my way." Marcus shouted, racing through the rain-soaked streets with sirens blaring. Marcus kicked in the front door, the lights flickered, glass shattered, and gunfire erupted. He moved like lightning, taking cover, returning fire with perfect precision, found Angela upstairs, shaken but unhurt, and took down the last intruder before he could reach her. Marcus ripped off the man's mask and froze. It wasn't just a random thug. It was a private security agent, one of Victor Haynes's bodyguards. Marcus stared at the badge on the man's uniform. The company logo matched Haynes's corporation. That was the proof he needed. The FBI raided Victor Haynes's mansion. Dozens of agents swarmed in, confiscating documents, drives, and weapons. Haynes stood at the balcony, calm and confident. "You can't touch me, Agent Carter," he said coolly. "People like me built this city. You're just a piece on my board." Marcus stepped forward, eyes cold as steel. "Then let's see how you play without your pieces." He handed over the warrant. Haynes's smirk vanished when two agents dragged him away in handcuffs. Angela and Marcus stood together on the porch, watching the sunrise. Angela looked at her son, proud tears in her eyes. "You did it, Marcus." Marcus sighed softly. "No, Mom. We did it. You taught me to fight for what's right and never back down." Angela smiled. "Guess that lesson paid off." As the sun rose higher, Marcus's phone buzzed with a message from his FBI contact. "Good work, Agent Carter. But we've intercepted chatter about someone bigger, the architect. Cole and Haynes both worked for him." Marcus's expression hardened. "This isn't over," he murmured. "The real war is just beginning." Angela squeezed his hand. "Then we fight it together." The camera pans out, the city skyline glowing under the rising sun, and the words fade in. 2 months had passed since Victor Haynes's arrest. Atlanta had quieted down, but Marcus Carter knew the silence was deceptive, the calm before another storm. Every lead he chased pointed to one shadowy name, the architect, a ghost who built hate from behind the scenes, manipulating gangs, politicians, and corporations like chess pieces. No photos. No fingerprints. Just encrypted messages and whispers. Until now Marcus stood over a glowing computer screen. His tech specialist, Agent Rivera, traced the last encrypted signal from Haynes's servers. "Got something," she said. "A meeting, offshore. Private island. Name on the registry, Adrian Locke." Marcus frowned. "That name sounds familiar." Rivera smirked grimly. "It should. He funds half the city's development projects. Charity events, security contracts, he's everywhere." Marcus exhaled sharply. "And nobody ever suspected the billionaire philanthropist was the architect." Rivera nodded. "He's hosting a gala in the Caribbean next week." "That's your window." Angela didn't want Marcus going alone, but this mission was too dangerous for her to follow. He promised he'd be careful, but in his heart, he knew there was no turning back. Dressed in a sharp black suit, Marcus entered the marble hall filled with the world's elite. Chandeliers sparkled, violins played softly, and hidden among the guests were killers in tuxedos. Then he saw him, Adrian Locke. Calm. Polished. Deadly. Their eyes met across the room. "Agent Carter," Locke said with a charming smile when they finally met. "I was wondering when the FBI would send its best." Marcus replied coolly, "You make a lot of noise for someone who hides in the shadows." Locke chuckled. "Noise creates fear, Agent. Fear creates power. You of all people should understand that." Marcus leaned in. "Power ends today." Locke smiled again, but this time, darker. "You think you've won? My reach goes far beyond Atlanta. I own senators, police chiefs, even agents in your own bureau. When I fall, others rise. You can't stop an idea." Before Marcus could react, an explosion rocked the gala. Panic erupted, alarms blared, guests screamed. Marcus dove for cover, drawing his weapon. Locke vanished in the smoke. Marcus fought through the chaos, taking down Locke's armed guards one by one, the air thick with dust and fire. Outside, Locke boarded a helicopter, smirking as Marcus burst onto the roof. Marcus fired, the bullet clipped the tail, sending the helicopter spinning. It crashed on the far end of the island in flames. Marcus ran through the wreckage, but when he got there, the pilot was dead. Locke was gone, only a phone remained, cracked but still glowing. A message on the screen read, "You've made me proud, Agent Carter. You think like me now. The game isn't over, it's just begun." Marcus clenched his fists. Angela sat on the porch when Marcus returned, bruised but alive. She could see the weight in his eyes. "The war wasn't over. Did you find him?" she asked softly. Marcus shook his head. "He's alive. And he's not done." Angela looked out at the city lights. "Then neither are we." Marcus smiled faintly. "I guess you raised a fighter." Angela smiled back. "No, baby. I raised a warrior." As they stood together under the stars, a shadowy figure watched from a nearby rooftop, a man in a suit with cold eyes and a scar across his cheek. He lifted a phone and spoke one line. "Activate Project Phoenix." The screen faded to black. 1 month after the chaotic events on Adrian Locke's island, the world believed the billionaire was dead. But Marcus Carter knew better. The name Project Phoenix haunted his thoughts, a phrase meant for something that rises from the ashes. Locke wasn't gone, he was rebuilding. The atmosphere was tense. Screens glowed across the darkened command room. Agent Marcus Carter stood before a holographic map filled with red dots, each marking a recent hate crime explosion across the country. Agent Rivera typed rapidly. "These aren't random. They're coordinated. Same message patterns, same funding routes. It's Locke. He's activating sleeper groups, like a digital army." Marcus's jaw tightened. "Then we shut him down before he lights the whole country on fire." Just then, his phone buzzed. "Unknown number," he answered. Silence, then a familiar voice spoke, calm and sharp. "Hello again, Agent Carter. Did you miss me?" Marcus froze. "Locke. You destroyed my empire, but you also exposed the system's weakness. Now I'm building something better. Stronger. You can't stop a revolution, especially when it's funded by your own government." The line went dead. Marcus slammed his fist on the table. "He's not running anymore, he's recruiting." Angela was making dinner when she noticed something strange. A black SUV parked down the street, engine idling, lights off. She called Marcus instantly. "Baby, I think someone's watching the house." Marcus's blood ran cold. "Mom, lock the doors and stay away from the windows." "I'm coming now." Before he could leave headquarters, the building lights flickered. Systems went offline one by one. Rivera looked up in panic. "He's hacking us, Marcus. He's inside the FBI mainframe." Sirens wailed. The monitors displayed one message in red letters: "Phoenix will rise." Angela's phone line went dead. Then the power cut off. She stood in darkness, clutching a flashlight, her heart racing. Through the window, she saw them, men in tactical black gear, surrounding her house. She reached for the gun Marcus had trained her with, whispering, "Not tonight." Outside, an armored van screeched to a halt. Marcus and a tactical FBI team stormed in. Gunfire erupted across the yard with flashes of light, shouting, "Chaos!" Marcus fought his way inside, finding his mother behind the counter, ready to defend herself. "You okay, Mom?" Angela nodded. "You raised me well." They shared a brief smile, before a grenade rolled into the living room. Marcus dove, tackling her as the explosion shattered the walls. Smoke filled the room. He blinked through the haze, and saw Locke standing in the doorway, perfectly calm, dressed in black. "Why, Locke?" Marcus shouted, coughing through the smoke. "Why go this far?" Locke smirked. "Because chaos breeds control. People need fear to follow. You stop one gang, I'll build 100. You can't arrest a belief, Agent Carter." Marcus stepped forward, gun raised. "Maybe not. But I can stop you." Locke laughed. "You won't shoot me. You're a man of the law. And the law serves me." Marcus fired. The bullet struck Locke in the shoulder. He staggered back, stunned, then reached for a detonator in his pocket. Angela shouted, "Marcus." Marcus lunged forward, tackling Locke through the window. They crashed into the yard as the detonator slipped from Locke's hand and exploded behind them. When the smoke cleared, Locke was unconscious, barely breathing. Marcus stood over him, bleeding, exhausted, victorious. Angela sat beside Marcus's bed as he slowly woke. "It's over, Mom," he whispered. "Locke's in custody. Phoenix is done." Angela smiled gently. "I knew you'd stop him. You always do." Marcus nodded faintly, then looked toward the window, the sunrise breaking through. But on the hospital TV, breaking news flashed. Anonymous source leaks FBI files, hundreds of names tied to Phoenix network. Many still at large. Marcus stared silently. "The war's not over yet." Angela squeezed his hand. Then rest, baby. Because when it starts again, you'll be ready. The camera zooms out, showing the skyline of a city preparing for its next battle, and the screen fades to black.